What's up, guys? This is Oscar from RC Works, and I'm here with you guys to give you a quick update on my Proline MT410, and it is underneath this body. Let's go ahead and remove that. And some of you might notice right away that there's something different here. And so what I wanted to do was, I know that I'm going to be using a 4S system in here, so that's a 1/8 scale motor. Not sure if I'm going to stick with this one. This is the what is that? That's the Goal RC motor, 1/8 scale. I think it's a 2000 kV motor. So the thing about this truck is, it's 1/8 scale. It's built like a 1/8 scale, but it is actually a 1/10 scale. So you can imagine that there's not much room here to put electronics. So I'll give you guys a quick overview of what it's going to look like with everything in here. So I've got a Hobby Wing ESC, and that pretty much took all of that real estate. And Proline provided this particular area right here, so we can put a receiver and then an antenna with a grub screw in that particular area. But I'm going to use a Spectrum, not this particular Spectrum receiver, but if you guys can take notice that there's not a lot of room there. As a matter of fact, it doesn't even fit properly. So the other option, and plus it's not enclosed, so it's not really waterproof. But so the other option is maybe sticking it to the side guard, mud guard, and I wasn't happy with that. So I was maybe hoping to get something 3D printed, but there's such a little amount of real estate in that particular area that I just needed to come up with something else. Now, the other thing, as I mentioned earlier, was this truck is definitely going to be bashed, and on 4S it's going to be pretty insane. I have another 1/10 scale monster truck. It's the HPI Bullet, which I think this is very close to, or the Stampede, and the Traxxas Stampede, and those are a lot of fun on 2S and 3S. So this thing's just going to be bonkers on 4S, but I can't wait. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to implement a trick that I do on my 8 scale rigs, and that's doing shock tower to shock tower brace. And what I did was I went to my local hobby shop and I found some of these aluminum tubes, and basically I took my Dremel gun and cut them down to size. And what I did was I removed the stock screw, and then I added a this is probably a 3x16, the stock 3mm by 16mm, and I replaced just 4 screws, the top screws, with a 3x20mm screw socket head right here. And so the ones that I removed were the stock ones that go in this area, and then the stock ones, sorry about this, guys, the stock ones that go in this particular area. So which would be those right there on the shock tower. And what this is it's just providing rigidity for the chassis. So it hopefully prevents the chassis from, flexing or bending inward, which can cause problems. So hopefully this works out. This is thin, I know that. What I've done before on my 8 scales, because the 3mm screws right into the inside of this, I'm able to utilize, let's see here, a thicker aluminum bar like this one in my hand, and this bar that's already installed will fit inside of this, and this is much thicker. So that's what I use on my 8 scale. I don't think I'll need it here. It feels pretty sturdy. I'm going to give it a run and see if it holds up. And if it does, I'll report back. You'll notice that I do have a couple washers. I miscalculated the cut, and I was a couple millimeters too short. So I added just some nylon washers there, and a couple of them since I only had some thin ones, and that took care of that. Another thing that this is going to be cool for is I'll be able to utilize these bars to either zip tie my motor wires onto them, or anything that is hanging over. I can probably just zip tie it here. Now I found a plate, an aluminum plate that I had left over from a build that I did a while ago, or earlier this year, or earlier in 2017. And this is actually the roof for a low-C mini desert buggy. Now that thing is ancient and it's super old, and I don't expect you guys finding these plates, but it's a good example of what you guys can maybe custom make at home. And what I did was I made the holes a little bit bigger on all four corners, so it'll allow me to put a zip tie through it. And this is now going to be my my receiver box tray. And so I will be adding something here so this tray doesn't move, because we don't want this thing moving. Now, I don't think it'll move much right now. You kind of have to push it fairly hard to get it to move. But still, you know, if I'm going to be bashing hard, I don't want it to, you know, go anywhere else. And then the other cool thing is that some of you guys are already using the Arma receiver box, and for good reason. It's waterproof, it's sturdy, it's durable. And it's a wonderful receiver box, and I'm uncertain why Proline didn't include it. I've heard something, I don't know if it was on the forums or Facebook, that it was purposely not included for some reasons that I don't recall, but they intended not to have it, and there may be some issues there. I'm not too sure what they are, but this receiver box from Arma fits perfectly on top of that plate, and it almost looks like maybe that's how this truck was supposed to come. You know, it looks very clean, and you know, like maybe it came like that from the manufacturer, which is kind of what I was going for. Something very clean, simple, and that would be very functional. So I'll be able to utilize this receiver box, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these wires down for a quick second so you guys can see that. I'm going to remove this, that there's plenty of space for the body to lay on, and that receiver box is not hitting the top of the body at all, so there's plenty of room in that area. Kind of hard to tell with this phone that I have in the video, but take my word for it, there's plenty of room. So hopefully this helps you guys, and if you guys want to do it, hopefully it works out for you. I'm going to give it a test and report back how everything worked out, but I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on what I'm doing with my MT410 by Proline. Talk to you guys soon. If you guys are on Instagram, check me out at RCWorks, and you guys can see some of the stuff that I'm working on there as well. So we'll talk to you guys on the next one. See ya.